Alrighty, guys. Well, let's just get that out of the way right off the bat, and we'll just say hello. How is everyone doing? It's that time of the month. It's the end of the month recap where we're going to talk about what happened in November, recap it, go over what we did on the channel. In case you missed something, you'll be able to go back and check these videos out. Everything's on the channel. And plus other things. We did a lot of unboxings, tear the shrinks off this last week or so. So the main thing that happened in November is my wife had knee replacement surgery, which was not very good for my game playing because I had to take care of her a lot of the time. So for the last 2 weeks, I've been off work, but unfortunately, I've been having to take care of her, which is fine, and it's just, taking a lot of my time, so I haven't been able to get a lot of longer videos out or anything, but we still had a huge month in November. 1 month ago, we definitely made our record of 100 games in 2024 again. We're way up into 117 games already, and in fact, if you can see by our sheet here, November was huge for us. We had 15 more new games, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, and specifically talk about each of those. We had 34 different games on the channel, and of those 34 different games, we had 52 game sessions because some of those were multiple plays. We had Stone Cold Hockey 6 times, Discordia twice, Apiary twice, Sentinels of the Multiverse twice, Cartographers 3 times, and probably a couple other ones that I didn't mark down there. Anyways, with our 15 new games played in November, we're now up to 117 new games played. And then with 52 game sessions logged, and that shouldn't be June, that should say November. We have 481 logged gameplays in 2024. We also did 2 reviews. Those reviews were listed down at the below on the bottom. We did a review of Apiary, which we rated as 96, and it's ranked as one of the best we've ever ranked. And the second one was Imperium Classics. We ranked it 90% and rated it outstanding. Both of these games were justified as a top tier game and well worth your time and money and effort to get both of these games. So check these out. Let's just talk about what we did do. We played Discordia, a new game. We played Stone Cold Hockey. We played Star Trek Star Realms. We played Bonsai. We played 1960 Making the President on Election Day. We played Apiary, the first time actually because we got the expansion for it. Apiary was our first game we played in 2024 on January 1st, and I believe we also played it on January 2nd. So we got the expansion for it, added the expansion, and played it a couple more times. Great game, and of course we did a review for it. We played ASG Golf, Forbidden Island, Corrosion, Dominant Species, Roman Roll. Now, Roman Roll we've tried twice. Unfortunately, the first time it was a learning game, so we didn't get very far, and then I had to put it away. The second time, I started it the day before the wife had her surgery, and then when we came home from surgery, I couldn't get back to it for a few days, so it got put away. So both of our Roam and Roll plays only have like the first part. I promise you, hopefully in December, we're actually going to sit down and play it from start to finish, or at least have a part 1 and a part 2 and maybe a part 3. It is a kind of a longer game, but I am going to try and get a full game of that because I have not done a very good job of that one. Command & Color Samurai, Imperial Classic as Rome, Bullet Star, Sentinels of the Multiverse, Gaia Project, Title Bout 2, Season Ticket Baseball. Resist, Gorentino, Flashpoint South China Sea, times 2. EO, Lock Up a Role Player Tale. Shadow Rift, Roman Roll again. That was the second time we tried that one. Wingspan, Cartographers, times 3. Title Bout 2. Bandino, Orchard, Sierra West, The Red Cathedral, France, 1940, and Marvel Champions. So all those, if you're new, all those in the red are games we've never played before. This is the first time we ever played them. And so we got 15 games we're going to talk about here shortly. So again, unfortunately, it's kind of a two-edged sword. I was trying to take care of the wife. I was also trying to do things here. She did not have a very good time with the surgery. So the first week was very challenging and very hard for her, which means it was very hard for me trying to keep everything going. So that took a lot of our time. We were able to just started getting over the hump in the last couple of days, so we're starting to make strides forward. And unfortunately, I'll be going back to work, not tomorrow, but the day after. So my free time is back to work almost, unfortunately. But we still got a lot of good stuff done for you guys here on the channel. So love to hear your thoughts and comments and suggestions, and if you have any, anything to talk about. So let's go ahead and talk about our, that's not the right one. Let's go to this one. There we go. So what I like to do is give my new game and played initial impressions, where I talk about each of the games that we played that were new, and just not review, but just give you like a 30-second synopsis of what they played and if we had a good time with them or if we're throwing them in the trash can or what. So Discordia, we actually played that twice. It's a really neat game. It's so neat, in fact, that I picked up the expansion, the Magma expansion, which is, right here it is. We picked up the new Magma expansion for this, so we're hoping to try that again. In fact, it's sitting right on top of the Roman Roll because those are two games I definitely want to try again. So Discordia, really good game, really interesting. I think with the Magna expansion, it's going to even make it more interesting because it's asymmetric factions and different starts. So, random starts every time is always good. Then we played Star Trek Star Realms, which is basically it's basically Star Realms with the Star Trek theme on top of it. And it's fine. Star Realms has always been a fine game. Of course, doesn't play great solo, unless you're using it for the solo mode. If you're trying to play just two-handed, it plays fine, but it's just not designed for that. It was fine. We played it a couple times and had a good time with it, trying new things and just seeing what the cards looked like and all that. Bonsai, we actually played that 4 times. We played it on Board Game Arena. Again, we're still trying to get more and more games from Board Game Arena on the channel. And we played it 4 times. It is a very easy to learn, very easy to play game. If you're on Board Game Arena, I would check it out. It's very short. You're only playing, I think, somewhere around, there's like 23 cards, but you're taking one and then the AI takes a card away. So, 12 cards is all you're going to be playing. And in that time, you're trying to min-max your little tree. And it's really neat idea. And it's one of those games. I played it, like I said, 4 times because you can play it back to back to back to back. And every time you try it, there's new strategies, new way the cards come out, and things you have to decide. Oh, am I going to go after these or I want to go after this? Corrosion, another new game. It's got an interesting mechanism where the your player board turns, and as time goes by, pieces and parts of your engine will corrode away um, unless they're brass. And so it's got a cool mechanisms, lots of different engine building parts, and it's pretty cool. Dominant Species, I think, could be an all-time classic if you have a few people that enjoy this kind of game. It is very cutthroat, very in your face, very dominating your opponents. If you have a very cutthroat group and you don't mind getting in each other's way and trying to screw over your buddy, Dominant Species might be a great game for you. I think got an awesome design. It's just finding the right people to play with. Roman Roll, like I said, I mentioned this a couple times already, but this game, unfortunately, every time I started it, it just was bad timing, and I had to stop both of the playthroughs for different reasons. And so I'm hoping to get back to that soon, where we actually sit down and play it, officially play it, from like start to finish. Resist, I waited and waited for this game to finally come back into print. And because it's just a little card game, and they wanted like $80 to $100 for it in the secondary market. Now that it's back in print, you can pick it up for like $20, and it's well worth it. It's a super cool game. Gorinto is a abstract puzzle tile game with a very interesting solo mechanism, and I really like this game for what it's trying to do. It's not trying to be something super cool and fancy. It's just trying to be a puzzly game to make you think about things. And although the AI could be, it's definitely, the AI system is different, but I think it could be better. But I can see why people would be frustrated with the game. But I still think if you have a couple people and you enjoy abstract games, great. And if you even play solo, I played it a couple times, and the AI didn't bother me, but I could see how it could make some people not a fan of it. Flashpoint South China Sea might be my favorite game, my favorite new game of 2024. I don't know, it's gonna be way up there. I love this game. It does have a learning curve, and once you get over that curve, it's really good. It plays awesome solo. The solo mode is pretty decent. And it's just a lot of people call this Twilight Struggle Light, but it's not. It's more than that. I would call it Twilight Struggle Light on steroids, if that makes sense. EO is a samurai battling game where you're just massively under attack by samurais, a whole just samurai swarms, and it's you got one in the top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, and you have to decide on how to deal with each of these groups of enemies coming at you every turn, and you only have a few cards in your hand to do damage, or trying to block your opponents, or use special abilities. It's pretty neat, but it's super hard, and there's a lot of strategy. I'm not going to say there's not a lot of strategy, but the strategy comes down to numbers. Like, if I do this, I want to take 4 damage. If I do this, I want to take 8 damage. Well, obviously, your only option is to take the 4 damage. It is super hard. I mean, this is a filler game you can play in 10 minutes. So, I mean, you're not wasting a lot of time. I had an okay time with it. Not my favorite game, but it needs to be played a couple more times. Lockup, A Roller Player's Tale, by Thunderworks Games. I love Thunderworks Games. Everything they do is beautiful. And this game I've actually had for like 2 years, sitting here going, play me, play me, play me. And I just was like, oh, I don't want to learn it. It looks so complicated. It's not. This is another one of these. Oh, okay. I played it solo. It's got a very interesting solo mechanism and a lot of cool things. And I even have the expansion for it. So next time we play it, we're going to use the expansion and try it with the expansion. Bandino is another interesting game we played on Board Game Arena, where you have a enemy that's trying to break out of the prison, and there's just all these different lines that you have to put cards down, and the cards you put down might have dead ends or they might have branching paths, and your job is to close off all of this escape paths. It's really neat. It's really interesting. You can play it in, again, 5 to 10 minutes. I think we were averaging 8 to 9 minutes on a playthrough, and super quick to learn, super easy to play, and very interesting yet challenging, and trying to decide how to maneuver your cards, because you only have a couple cards, and then every turn you play one, draw one, play one, draw one, and yeah, I wish I had this other card, and I don't have that card, so what do I got to do? Orchard, we played another game. This is on Board Game Arena. I think we played that 3 times. Trying to remember what that one was, to be honest. I have forgotten what Orchard was. What was Orchard? Now I'm confused. Let me check, because I need to remember. Orchard. It's a solitaire card game, right? Yes. Oh, right. It's got the 9 cards. Right. Very cool game. I like this game. You have 18 cards, you shuffle them up, and you get 9 of them. But you put out a card, and that's like your base. And then you're trying to match up all the colors, and the more cards you can overlay on top of them, the more points you earn. And it does take a couple quick plays through to get, oh, okay, I see what I'm trying to do and how to score better and better. And by I think the 3rd or 4th time, we are starting to score pretty decently. Great little game, and very cheap, very easy, very quick. Another one of these. Zero West, a big surprise, a big positive surprise. This game was super cheap. It's about, pioneers and exploring America. And you have 4 different modules that you can add to your gameplay. There is an apple orchard, a gold mine, a outlaws, and something else. I don't remember what the 4th one is right off the top of my head. But every one of the modules adds a new board or a new way to kind of use the core mechanisms of the game. And I thought it was really neat. And, there's a couple of resources. You're trying to get the resources so that you can activate your little players as they move along their little track. And you have you have one guy moving along the green track and one guy moving along the gold path. And how you activate those guys and in which order is really neat idea. And I had a great time playing this game. Plays in about an hour and a half, and has a very interesting mechanisms and how you build this little tower, and as you get cards off the tower to add to your deck, then that's how the game ends. And then Red Cathedral, great game. I actually picked up the expansion for this one too. So that was like 3 of them this month that I played, had a good time, and decided to get the expansion. Discordia, the Red Cathedral, and Lockup, a role player's tale. So really good time with a lot of these games this month. Great. There wasn't a dud in there. There was a couple that weren't as good, but a lot of them are, really, I would say what I would classify as 7 and 8s on the scale. So a lot of really good games to talk about and share. So, with that said, there is our initial impressions. Again, we're not doing a review on any of these games. We're just kind of telling you what they were like, introducing them to you in case you missed them, and if you want to jump on them. A lot of these games, are not brand new games either. A lot of these games have been out for a while. Now, Star Trek Star Realms is new. I'm trying to think of any of the other ones that might be new. Flashpoint South China Sea came out last year, so that's been out for a little while. I think most of these games have been out for a while, so a lot of these games you can find at kind of a cheaper price from your secondhand stores. Some of these are not super popular, then for whatever reason. You don't see a lot of activity about them. Discordia, again, a few people online have played this. I've seen some playthroughs, but not a ton. Corrosion, there might be a couple again, but you don't see or hear a lot about that game. Dominant Species, Gorantino, Flashpoint South China Sea. A lot of these games just not well known, and that's the kind of games that I love. I love finding these games that are, cheap because nobody likes them, and I get them and I like them, and it's like great because now I got a cheap game that didn't cost me a lot of money that I enjoy. And again, a lot of these games, I don't have any problems with them. A couple of them are kind of EO, again, probably a great game with great art, and maybe if I played it a few more times, I would be more interested in it. But I just, after a couple of playthroughs, I don't have a desire to I have to complete this. I just no, I'll just move on to something else. Besides that, Star Trek Star Realms, again, just because the solo mechanisms and not playing solo was kind of, if you had two players, it'd be a great game. But so those were kind of the two, and those were still passable. It wasn't like those were bad games. So I had a really good month in November of games. So we do have a challenge going on, and I posted on our Facebook group to have people assign how many games they think I'm going to get at the end of 2024, and we're giving away a game at the end of the season if anyone gets the right amounts. So we're at 117. We average about 10 to 12, so we're going to be at the 127 to 129. Now, with that said, last year we ended up with 132. So we could try to push it to try and beat our record. We could try to lay back and just enjoy the last month and just play again with our 2025 top 100 games looming soon. I'd like to replay all those top 100 games again. Double check, should they stay on the list? There's probably a couple that we haven't got around to this year yet, so December, it should be a December to remember as we try to really fine tune. I'm certainly not pressing to I have to beat last year's record. It would be great to do it. I don't think I'm going to. I don't have any desire to right now, but it just depends. I might just get in this mood to play a bunch of games that I've never played before, because a lot of these games sitting here staring me in the face saying to me, play me, play me, play me. And once in a while I say, all right, damn it, because I'm sick of you yelling at me. So we got, just Rise of Tribes is here, Age of Thieves, Eminent Domain, Maracaibo, Uncharted, the board game, Heroes of the Colosseum, Built for War, Space Core. Those are just those are just some of the games within arm's reach. I probably have 100 or more that are just waiting for me to get them out and play them. And I hate having games where I'm not playing them, because it's like, what's the purpose of having the game if you don't play it? So there's also Enigma, which is another game I picked up. And, a nice, easy, an easy, cheapo game that I picked up because it has a solo mode. And I figured, what the heck, I'll try it out. And if I ever get together with my family and there's 3 or 4 of us, that would be a great game to play with 4 people. So, anywho, let's look at our Quick 5. So in this section of the review for the month, I like to just take 5 games that I played in November and just throw them in a hat and say, these are 5 games that if you went out and picked up, played, you would have a great time, you would have a great collection, and you would have a ton of fun with these games. So these aren't like my favorite of games. These are just 5 games that I think if you buy these games and have a good time with them, you would have a great collection. Number 1 is going to be it's going to be Resist. So I talked about this a little bit because it's brand new for us. I had a great time with this game. This is a solo game. Press your luck. Kind of, how far do you want to risk things before you lose it all? And it's got an interesting theme. The Marquis in 1936, I think it was. And so you're resistance fighters. So it's the artwork is very, I would say, cartoony, but in a good way. So it's very cool game. You can play it in 30 minutes and reset it and then play it again. It's one of those games, very interesting, because you got a bunch of characters, but you're only going to use use 12 characters, so you'll never get to use the same characters. So you might have I really wish I had Josh, but you might not even have Josh, so you have to just deal with the characters you do have. And then all the events come out in different orders, and the enemies that are associated with those events, very random, so you just gotta kind of puzzly figure it all out. Game number 2 is actually going to be Gaia Project. Let me slide those 2 apart there and bring this one up. There we go, Gaia Project. It's got a bunch of different factions. They finally released an expansion for this game. It adds some new factions to it, although I'm not happy with how they integrated the factions and all the extra mechanisms that they put into the game. And I would rather play it with just the base game, to be honest, which is kind of a bummer. It is kind of a monstery Euro game, weight of 4.4, but plays absolutely brilliantly. 1 player. You can play it on Board Game Arena, which I think is how we played it. I played it with the expansion on the table and got so mad and so frustrated. The next day I played it on Board Game Arena and I had such a better time. What does that tell you? I don't know. It tells me a lot of things, but it just tells me that the way this game is, the expansion added too many pieces and parts to the game and just took away the fun factor for me. Number 3 is Bonsai. I talked about this one. Another one on Board Game Arena, but you can pick this up pretty cheap, and it's just playing little tiles down. And like I said, you're only playing it 30 minutes. I think it's like 11 tiles is what you're playing. And you see weight is 1.87. Very easy to pick up. And you're trying to get to the scoring objectives at the end of the game. Very cool design, very interesting, and it's just about building your little tree, and you're putting the wood pieces out to get bigger branches, and you're trying to put the leaves out so that you can then put the fruits on the leaves, or the other thing, which is I forget what the other thing is. The flowers, I think, was the other thing. Fruit and the flowers. So the fruit and the flowers can go on the leaves, and so you might try to be scoring like on the right hand side of your tree. You're scoring for as many fruit as you can get. So you're trying to build your little. You got to build out the branches so you can put the leaves out, so then you can put the fruit out there and score lots of points. And I'm making it sound very simple, but there's a lot more puzzly things going on than that. Number 4 is Bulletstar. One of my all-time favorite games. Highly, highly recommended if you can get it. It's back in stock, so get it while it's in stock. And get it for solo mode. Do not try to play this with people. It's much better as a solo game, to be honest, in my opinion. Plays great. All your heroines are villains, so you can play them, if you have your favorite character, you can play her as a hero and then flip her over and play against her as a villain. And everyone has their own special ability and their own special cards and their own special puzzles, pieces that you need to put together. I'm trying to think of what they call them. They call them, I can't even remember the terminology they used, but they have like different Tetris pieces that you're trying to put together. And when you get those pieces, you can use your heroine's parts to knock the bullets off of your board and shoot them at the boss you're trying to knock out. I've got playthroughs. Check it out. It's a great game. And last but not least is France 40. We've actually started the Vassal module. We also actually sat down and played this with a hex encounter and the map, and putting the counters out and counter clipping it and doing the whole thing. Had a great time playing the game. It's just a lot of work to get it to where you can actually finally get to play the game. But it's a great little time. So Resist, Gaia Project, Bonsai, Bullet, and France 40 gives you a great variety of different games. Solo, multiplayer, different aspects of big epic Euro games, some war game thrown in there, some puzzly Bonsai and Bullet Heart, and then some pressure lock, cool mechanisms with card play with Resist and Gaia Project. So a lot of good combinations there. Good group of 5. I would be happy to get any of these games and play them anytime. So that's a wrap for November. Another huge month on the channel. The quick 5 there. Again, if you're just joining us, there is our list. We're up to 117 new games played in 2024. 481. We should make over 500 different games played on the channel in 2024 by the end of December. And hopefully somewhere in the neighborhood of 125 to 135 total new games on the channel. So looking forward to another huge month. I don't think we have... Wife is getting over the surgery, so we should be able to hit December running forward without any slowdowns. We do have, obviously, the holidays with Christmas coming up, so that will take a little bit of time off. But I also get more time off work as well, so it kind of compensates for that as well. Should be a huge month, and we should be able to end 2024 on a high note and then get right into designing and creating our list of top 100 games for 2025, which will probably start in February again. So, Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here. If you have any thoughts, comments, suggestions, questions, whatever, leave them in the comments section down below. And until we see you next time, my friends, you just remember two things. Number one, we love you all and there's nothing you can do about it. Number two, I will see you all down the line. Take care, everybody. See you next time.